So, click pattern, and I like to have all of these function buttons in pinned mode. So ordinarily when you first start up Maschine, there's a default option. You see I'm having to hold that down to go to the pattern screen. Take my finger off and it pops back. We can actually pin that in pattern mode just by pressing button 1, and I've actually got that, I think, for apart from solo and mute and a couple of others, but all the main function buttons, I've set them up to be pinned. So you can see actually when I've loaded the group, we get 2 patterns by default. And if you've used Maschine before, you know that it maintains the sync, it switches instantaneously and picks up at the point in the bar where the previous pattern left off. I'm just going to make myself a new pattern. So pick a new pad, hit play. If I want to set the tempo, there's a tempo button, and I can do that with the master encoder. It's the same with swing and volume. I'm going to need a click, a metronome. So underneath the capital letters on some of the pads and buttons, you've got lowercase, and that is accessible with the shift function. So under tap, for tap tempo, press shift. Should be able to drop the metronome on. The other way that I can do that is if I go to settings, I can turn the metronome on there. Again, because of the way I've set this up for recording, what I need to do, even though I've activated the metronome, you guys can probably hear that. I can't hear that in my headphones. So at the moment it's going out of 1 and 2. I can actually route it separate from that to 3 and 4 coming out of my headphones. So again, great for a live situation. If you wanted to play in a beat live but not have your audience hear that you're actually performing to a click, you can deviate the click separate from the main output. So to do that, I'm going to go to the channel button, I'm going to click on master, and where it says Q, I'll just send that out of external 2, which is my headphones. And I can choose a level and stuff here. Just familiarise myself with some of the sounds. I've got 1 bar by default. Just drop myself into record. Appallingly out of time. If I just hold shift and press pad 6, which is quantized by 50%, just tighten it up a little bit. Let's just put in an 8th hat. Again, we'll just shift and quantize that by 50%. And I can just turn the metronome off, shift and tap. So now if we go to pattern, you can see we've got 3 patterns to pick from. Okay, let's take a quick look at events. So if you've seen Maschine Studio, you'll have seen that using the high def screens, it's really easy to edit the length, the position, the pitch of each of the note events that you've placed. So for the entirety of this demonstration, I'm just looking at these screens. I'm not using my my laptop. So some of these, in terms of velocity, actually if we do glance over to the laptop for a minute, you can see there's a few differences in level. You see, especially with the hi-hat, there was like a bit of a crescendo going on, which I'm not that keen on. So again, I've got it pinned in events mode. So now I can see each slot that has, or each pad, each sound slot that has note events programmed for it. So if I were to do that, I'd be selecting all my kicks. That would be all my snares and that hi-hats. So let's start with the hi-hats. So you can see it lets me know that I've got multiple events selected, and it's really easy for me to sort of like zone in on, you know, one event. So you can see I'm just switching between my different hi-hats, or more than one event. So we just, you see I've got 2 selected now, or I can use this to just select maybe the middle 2 or something like that. So it's really easy to focus in on exactly what you want to be affecting. You notice that here I can zoom in and scroll on different parts. So I've got an overview on the left screen and a zoomed in version on the right screen. And if I press the right button, once I've made my selection, I can edit the position, the pitch, the velocity and the length. So if I, there we go, just move all of those velocities to the top, I like squash out any difference that was there previously, and now I can like set an exact value of my choosing. There you go, they've just been evened out a little bit. So let's have a listen to that. And if I need to, I can just obviously solo the hi-hat. Let's just have a listen to the kick. So I've gone back into events, undone that. So again, that last kick, maybe a little bit heavy on the velocity. So come back. And you see I can just select that last kick using rotary 3 and now just pull the velocity down a little bit. It's just a little bit more controlled. So as you can see, it's super easy to go in and start editing the contents of something that's been played in, you know, a pattern that's been played in freehand.